This is the Louie Tee NETWORK.
Then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs.
In the L.A.B.
Who else could it be but me, Dormant? Louie Tee, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. AFC Divisional Round playoff football. The final game of the weekend. The winner of this game would either be going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots, in the case of the Steelers winning, or the Denver Broncos would be hosting the New England Patriots, and it would be Brady v. Manning, chapter, let's call it 17. And I already said the football gods had already arranged this. We already knew what was going to happen. We had one more Brady-Manning matchup in us. And this is it. This is the final one. So you guys enjoy this one. Enjoy the hoopla and all the buildup that will come with this matchup, because this is the last one, I promise you. Okay? And so, Steelers came into this game shorthanded. No Antonio Brown. We know about Le'Veon Bell being out. You know about the running back position being decimated by the injury bug. And so, no D'Angelo Williams in this game either. So it just felt like Ben Roethlisberger banged up at the quarterback position. There was going to be only so much they would be able to do offensively against the best defense in the league. For the Denver Broncos, just don't throw up all over yourself. Just do the little things. And I talked about that, I harped about that in the preview for this game. Just do the little things. This defense is so good. Don't turn it over offensively. Complete the smart play. If you have to punt the football. Don't turn it over. Don't create a short field for the opposition. Allow the defense to defend a field full of grass and allow them to do what it is they do, which is get teams off the field, force turnovers, and win football games. And that's what the offense did for the most part. They stayed out of the way. They didn't go out and dominate. They weren't aggressive. They didn't do anything special. They just didn't mess up. And sometimes you don't have to be great to be good. And I think the Denver Broncos, because the defense is so elite, just get out of the way. Don't mess up this defense and force them have to do some things that they're not comfortable doing. And I didn't think the offense did that at all in this game. And I actually thought the special teams was tremendous for the Broncos in this game. Let's break this game down quickly. Omar Bolden, huge punt return early in the game to set the Denver Broncos up with great field position to get a field goal out of it to get an early 3-0 lead. Great special teams played by Kayvon Webster, and I actually thought he was one of the MVPs of this game. If you're talking about guys that had a huge impact on this game, look no further than Kayvon Webster. And I talk about winning 2 out of the 3 phases of the game. If you're any team, not just the Denver Broncos, but you know the Broncos going into most games are going to win the defensive side of the football because they're so elite there. If you can win special teams or offense, they're probably going to win on most occasions. They won special teams in this game without a doubt, and Kayvon Webster was the reason why. He made at least 3 huge special teams plays. This first one, he batted the football backwards, didn't allow it to go into the end zone for a touchback, bats it backwards, out of bounds. Steelers take over at their own 3-yard line. They go 3 and out, have to punt from their own end zone. Because of the wind in Mile High in this particular game, Jordan, the punter, wasn't comfortable punting the football for the Steelers. You can tell he struggled all game long with punting and kicked this one out of bounds on the 35-yard line. Gave the Broncos great field position. They ended up getting another field goal out of the deal. So it's 6-0, and you can go ahead and chalk that up to Kayvon Webster and his play, because if he doesn't make that play, they get the touchback, goes out to the 20. I don't know if the Steelers give them the great field position that they ultimately ended up having. So give some credit to Kayvon Webster. I thought he was tremendous on the day on special teams. I thought he was actually accountable and indirectly attributed to about 6 points for this Denver Broncos team. And on a day where they found it tough to score points, 6 points was huge in the outcome of this ball game. Steelers, they were getting chunk plays, and I was actually surprised at how many chunk plays the Steelers actually got in this ball game, because I said to myself, if you're the Denver Broncos and you saw the defensive philosophy was, hey, let's not give up anything cheap or deep to these guys, because they don't have a lot of their playmakers. They don't have guys that can consistently win against us one-on-one. So let's not give up anything cheap or deep to these guys. Make them work for everything that they're going to get, because I don't think they have enough to sustain offense consistently against this defense. And because of that mindset, I expected them to keep everything in front of them, come up, rally to the football, tackle, not give up a lot of chunk plays. They were giving up chunk plays all over the place in this game. Martavis Bryant with a catch and run. I thought Sammy Coates was huge in this game for a guy that really hasn't played all season long. And because of the injury to Tones, he gets an opportunity. I thought he was showing off the speed that we know he possessed. And I thought he made some great plays after the catch, showing the wheels. And it's never been a matter of this guy could run or play at this level. It's can you catch the football consistently? Well, he did that in this game. You saw the speed. I think he's going to be good for this team moving forward. And I think that's a really positive sign for the Steelers, that this guy came in and in a big spot, he didn't flinch, came out and played some good football for him. He was getting chunk plays. Martavis Bryant, though, easily was the most dangerous weapon that they had on the field, and you saw it all day long. He gets a reverse, a fake dive, pitch reverse, where he gets the football, peels up the field, takes it deep into Denver Broncos territory, and then Fitzgerald Toussaint breaks off a nice little run, and they end up getting a 1-yard touchdown from Toussaint to give them their first lead of the game at 7-6. As we go to the second quarter, that's your score. And I thought, man, they're getting chunk plays. I was very impressed with them. Speaking of chunk plays, Denver Broncos, they're missing the deep ball. And I think that's something Peyton has struggled with since he's had this injury, is the deep ball. And he hasn't hit it all season long, and that's something I've been waiting for. I was hoping after he came back from the injury, he'd be hitting the deep ball again. He's got the arm strength. There's no doubt about it. In this particular play, he misses double eight Demarius Thomas over the middle. He beats Ross Cockrell on a post route. He's open. Peyton lays it out there just about 1.5 yards too far, out over the outstretched arms of Demarius Thomas. If he hits him, I think this is a touchdown, but he just missed him. I'd love to see Peyton connect on that. If he can hit the deep ball, this offense will be a dangerous team to have to be able to stop. But because he's not hitting that, and you're trusting that these guys are going to be able to nickel and dime all the way down the field, it just doesn't work that way with this offense the way that it's set up right now. They're not sustaining offense. So if they can hit some big plays, that would be huge for the Denver Broncos. But he misses. Steelers didn't though. And after Peyton missed on that deep ball, they ended up having to punt. Steelers get the football, and they have a coverage breakdown through the Denver Broncos. The safety and the corner both converge on an out route by the tight end, and it was cover 2. The corner can jump that out route, but the safety cannot. He's being nosy, too far up, and Darius Hayward-Bay runs right by the coverage. He's all by his lonesome, back behind the defense, catches the football. We all know he struggles to catch football when nobody was around. He catches it, runs past the defender, picks up 58 yards. Steelers get a field goal out of that, go up 10-6. And those were the type of plays I was talking about. Too many big plays being given up to a team that was void of big-time playmakers and supposedly had a banged-up quarterback. You just say to yourself, what are you guys doing? I mean, this was mind-boggling to me. I said, do you guys really want to win this game or what? I was starting to think back to that game last year against Indy. It seemed very similar to that game. I didn't feel like they were lifeless like they were in that game last year, but I just think they're making so many mistakes. It reminds me of that game, and they weren't scoring any points. It's 10-6 at this point. The Broncos would get the football right before the half, move it down the field. Had a promising drive, and then it flamed out. Peyton gets hit on a safety blitz by Will Allen, and if Will Allen had gotten there a millisecond earlier, that's a fumble, and it may be scooped up and scored on by the Steelers. But luckily enough for the Broncos, Peyton was in his throwing motion as he got hit. Ball goes sailing out of bounds. They catch a break. The very next play, he fumbles the snap from the center. A bad center quarterback exchange, falls on the carpet. Peyton lands on it. Luckily enough for them, they had one final timeout that they were able to use to get a field goal right before the half, and that was our score, 10-9 at the halftime break. You felt good if you were the Steelers because you said, hey, we're down a few guys, we're shorthanded, and yet we're here hanging in on the road against the best team in the AFC. You gotta feel good about that with Fitzgerald Toussaint and Jordan Todman at running back, and Sammy Coates and Darius Hayward-Bay getting more snaps at receiver. You gotta feel good about where you are if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the Denver Broncos, you say, hey, look, we had a bunch of drop passes, okay? Emmanuel Sanders, E-Man Sand, had a huge 4th and 5 drop where he gets hit by Mike Mitchell. You got Benny Fowler with a drop. You got a huge 3rd down drop by C.J. Anderson, wide open over the middle. He catches that. He's going to run for a little while. There were drops galore. I mean, equal opportunity offender drops where everybody was getting their hand in on the drop. And Peyton Manning's numbers didn't look all that great, but if you factor in how many drops there were, you would say, hey, man, he didn't have that bad of a game. And so you say to yourself, we haven't played our best brand of football yet. We're only down 1 point. So for both sides, you probably felt positive about where you were at halftime, even though if you're the Broncos and you're down 1, you're saying, hey, we got to play better football. We shouldn't be down to a team shorthanded. But you say, hey, for as bad as we play, we're only down 1. Let's go get this football game. So go to the 3rd quarter. Both teams exchange field goals. Steelers get one first, go up 13-9. Denver Broncos respond, get a field goal of their own to trim it back to 1 at 13-12 as we head to the fourth quarter. Kayvon Webster had another huge special teams play, nailing Marcus Wheaton on a punt return, and I thought that hit prompted Wheaton to drop another one later on in the game. Luckily, the Steelers were able to dodge a bullet, get a touchback on that one, but that shot that he delivered put the Steelers deep in their own territory again and got them great field position, and the Broncos were able to get that and take that field position and turn it into another field goal. So again, Kayvon Webster indirectly impacting this game. I thought he attributed for 6 points, and that was another field goal that I thought he really had his hand in getting that stop deep in Steelers territory. Steelers squandered field position in the fourth quarter, and I thought that's where this game was lost. They had a drive early in the fourth quarter where they're moving the football. They get on the plus side of the field. They're in Denver Broncos territory. They're moving the football. And on the first down snap, they give up a sack. But on that same play, it's a personal foul, face mask penalty on the offense. And so the Broncos elect to take the personal foul penalty, 15 yards. Yikes. They move backwards. Then they try a pitch on the next snap. This Broncos defense, they're too fast. They're too ferocious. They float to the football. They squatted up on Jordan Tobin, who tries to reverse field and circle back, and he lost 5 yards on the play. This is too aggressive of a defense to try to do those type of things against. And now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 30. And instead of this team who was moving the football down the field and looking like they were about to get into field goal range, they're going backwards towards midfield at this point. They ultimately would pick up a few yards, but Mike Tomlin wasn't comfortable attempting about a 52, 53-yard field goal. I thought he could have taken it, but I understand the logic here. The defense was playing outstanding football, and if you pin these guys deep inside their own 10-yard line, they're going to have to go the length of the field to score a touchdown. They're going to have to go 60, 70 yards to get into field goal range. They haven't done that consistently all game long, so you like your chances with punting and pinning them deep, but the punter kicked it all the way in the end zone, so it really didn't work out as favorably as the Steelers would have liked it to. But nonetheless, they get the football back after getting a stop, and they're moving the football again. And they had a nice play-action fake to Jesse James over the middle of the field, and they're moving the football, completion to Martavis Bryant, and you feel like, okay, here they go. If they can just get a field goal, extend this out to a 4-point lead and force the Denver Broncos to do something they haven't done all day, score a touchdown, you probably might be able to win this football game realistically. And if you get a touchdown here and go up 8, you really are putting the pressure on the Denver Broncos in this ball game. And so they're moving the football, and the young fellas, you hate putting the football in the hands of guys who don't handle it very often, because things like this happen. I always talk about the big stage and how sometimes the moment can be too big for some guys. I don't necessarily think that's what this was. Sometimes you just got to give credit to guys for making plays. And you just got to give some credit to Bradley Roby. He had no intentions of making a tackle on this play. His one purpose, he was being blocked actually on this play. His one sole purpose was to see if he could reach his hand in the cookie jar and come out with a cookie, and that he did. He put fist to ball. It came out, recovered by DeMarcus Ware. It was the turning point of this football game, because on the ensuing possession, the Denver Broncos moved down the field, and there were some plays in there that were made. You got a 3rd down and long conversion to Benny Fowler in tight, sticky coverage that Peyton Manning threads the needle in, gets the completion, gets them in business, get a couple of nice plays by C.J. Anderson to set up the touch, and another nice run by Ronnie Hillman where he squeezes through a hole that is all but impossible to get through, but he somehow squirms his way through and sets up a situation where they're able to get in the end zone with C.J. Anderson and get a touchdown and then get a 2-point conversion. But on that same possession, they could have had an interception. And if William Gay is more aggressive, because he read the route the entire way, and if he is more aggressive towards the football, I think he picks that off. But instead, he wanted it to come to him. He tried to catch it with his chest instead of going after it with his hands. And give some credit to E-Man Sand for playing defender and knocking the football away. But in my heart of hearts, I believe if William Gay is more aggressive, he picks that football off. Nonetheless, the Denver Broncos take advantage of the opportunity, go down the field, get the touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, and go up 7 at 20-13. They had no timeouts. after the touchdown as they burned their final timeout, but it did not come back to haunt them. But again, another team wasting precious second half timeouts. Can't state how important timeouts are at the end of a ball game. And so luckily it did not harm them at the end of this game. But the Steelers have one last desperation drive, try to get a field goal or a touchdown to tie the game up. And Ben Roethlisberger is sacked on 4th down. And that was all she wrote. Steelers weren't able to stop the Denver Broncos from getting a field goal to extend the lead out to 10. The Steelers did ultimately go down, get a field goal to cut it back to 7 and give themselves a chance to kick an onside kick, maybe recover. We've seen stranger things in this postseason. It was not to be, as the Denver Broncos recover the onside kick and win the football game 23-16 and move on to the AFC Championship game where they will be hosting the New England Patriots. It's 1 versus 2 in both conferences. No surprises this season, and we all felt like that would be the way that it would turn out. I won every single game in Divisional Round weekend, so I am 7-1 this postseason. My lone loss, my dearly beloved Redskins. So very disappointing, but we got what we wanted. We got Brady Manning on one side of the bracket. We got Cardinals, Panthers on the other. It's going to be a doozy. Can't wait. Bart Scott, can't wait. And so it was not pretty. I said that the Denver Broncos needed to take advantage of opportunities and do the small things, do the little things. They didn't do all the little things right in this game, but they did the most important thing. They did not turn the football over, which is more than you can say if Brock Osweiler was playing. Probably would have had at least one, if not more, turnovers in this game. And that's the stability that Peyton Manning brings to the table, and why this team has a legitimate shot at not only winning next week, but winning the entire thing, is because Peyton Manning brings a level of experience that you just can't trade it for anything. And so they get it done, 23-16, win the game, move on to the AFC Championship game to take on the New England Patriots. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, they ran out of gas. They didn't have enough healthy bodies on deck to get it done, and so they fall 23-16 to the Denver Broncos. It happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the lab. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything. And now, National Football League. Come back and join me as I got a lot of stuff planned for you guys this upcoming week. Not a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna drop a couple different videos on y'all. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Enjoy the rest of the week. See you next time.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.
Then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs.